What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 462nd episode of the Pokemon Podcast. It's super effective. I am here today. Almost forgot my name. It is SPJ with me. 462.
Starting off on a banger right now. This is gonna be a hot episode.
Is Greg.
I am here
from traveling.
I am back from my whirlwind tour of the East Coast. If by tour I mean Philadelphia and Hamilton, New Jersey. Trenton makes the world takes. Those of you who know what that means, I don't know what it is, but at me. And then I came home on Friday, went straight to Target and bought Miitopia. So if you're playing Miitopia, come at me, because I have a whole bunch of really great Miis you can add to your Miitopia. Just find me on Twitter, say, hey, what's your access key? I can join you on your adventure. I sent an ideal picture to Steve of Steve in my adventure, and he just ignored it.
Yeah, that's true. I did.
You did. You just ignored it.
I meant to say something, but then I didn't.
Yeah, typical.
Will is still on the East Coast, so we have Al back with us.
Yes, and I will try my best not to talk too much about Eurovision today, but no promises.
You can talk a lot about it. Do we know who won? Is it done? Is the winner?
It is done. Yeah. It. Well, okay. Spoiler alert for Eurovision. Italy won.
Italy
won. Yeah.
It was
they make pizza,
but it was supposed to either be Ireland or Australia. Those were the two.
What? Both of them didn't qualify for the final. What? Where were you reading these things?
I don't care. Those are the two. Those are the only two places I care about currently.
Look, kangaroos are not European.
Did Scotland even put anything in?
Scotland, not being an independent country at this point in time, do not have that.
Yeah, so I don't care about that.
How is it every time Al is on the show, I learn more things about Scotland? I don't know what this independent country means. What was that? You can't say that in passing.
America fought a war of independence to be free of Scotland, and we are. Scotland technically isn't free. It's really complicated.
Who has the keys?
You really don't want to get into this, do you? This is going to go seriously political so quickly. Even the answer to that question is political.
All right,
it gets ugly fast.
We have Al here. We have Gible Community Day coming up. We have some TCG. We got a lot of TCG stuff.
Do we have amazing 25th anniversary songs to celebrate? Do we have an amazing 25th anniversary distribution to talk about? Or are we just going to say that the 25th anniversary brought us Shiny Wooloo?
We can start with the Shiny Wooloo.
Can we? Because
there are worse things.
By this thing, when this goes out, it's gone.
Yeah. The Wooloo is gone. Normally, so we'll start off with that Pokemon news. Pokemon.com heard Wooloo and Double in max raid battles. Shiny Wooloo appearing in Sword and Shield for a limited time. That was May 23rd from 5 p.m. PDT until they actually don't even have an end date on Pokemon.com. Good.
Good job.
It ends tonight. But by the time this episode comes up, it will be over. Lucky trainers will have a chance to counter Shiny Wooloo. Wow, they really...
Why?
Somebody at Pokemon.com really... They literally said when it started, you could encounter Shiny Wooloo, and then it said how to connect to the internet to access max raid dens. This was probably the shortest raid announcement they have done since they started doing these.
Was this for International Wool Day?
Was that this weekend?
I don't know. Why did they do it this weekend? Was there a reason? Was it for Eurovision?
I don't think there was.
Was it
unless there were sheep in Eurovision that we didn't know.
There's always sheep in Eurovision. It's Eurovision. Europe is mostly sheep.
Somebody brought sheep on stage, I hope.
I did not see any sheep. I saw a massive 12-foot moon and some massive inflatable trumpets, but no sheep.
I need to watch
COVID complications, presumably.
Assumed. When
Probably.
Okay, there's got to be an International Wool Day. I'm looking it up.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, the Wooloos came and went, and
Not Wolf Day.
I have done every one of these max raid battle weekends, even though I've always frustrated their last minute, and there's usually 8 other Pokemon events happening the same weekend. And I have noticed that this, even though it was Wooloo, so it's either two things. Either, and I think it's the latter, but either number one, maybe just everyone decided to shiny hunt Wooloo right when the game came out, or number two, people just don't care anymore. And I feel like it's just people are very like over this.
I will say that most of the people that I watch that are shiny hunters, when Sword Shield first came out, were all shiny hunting Wooloo because it was the black sheep thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that. Also, it came literally out of the blue. Like there,
well, all of these do.
All of them do, but it's like, oh, Wooloo? I mean, I guess.
I find these funny because it feels like, because they're so sudden, it feels like what they've done is somebody's gone, oh, we need an event this month. We've not done one. Look, it's second last weekend in the month. Who's going to do it? Right. Let's just press it live. Choose a random number. Right. Wooloo. Let's do it now.
Do you participate in these at all, Al? Do you care enough for these events?
I do. I've not got them every single time because I can't be bothered. I certainly can't be bothered finding the shiny myself. And what I tend to find is that if you're doing random online ones, apart from the absolutely dreadful way to try and actually get the list updated so you can join them, I find that either it's just a whole bunch of people putting up the 1 to 4 star ones, which, let's be honest, nobody cares about. Or you finally find a 5-star one, and of course it's full because there's only 4 spaces, and in fact 3 spaces because one's taken up by the host.
Yeah.
And so I find that a very relatively frustrating experience. So it's good when somebody, for example, in the Slack, finds one and then lets people jump on. Much easier to get that way.
I have a wonderful angel that finds them, and then when they find one, sends me messages like, hey, do you want to get on this? And I'm like, yes. FYI, Wool Awareness Week is September 28th to October 6th.
Okay. Not in May.
No, but April 9th was the first European Wool Day.
Still not me.
Still not me. Maybe they had to push it back.
I still with this, like, there's always somebody who comes in or somebody in the Slack that will find a shiny and then they'll let people join, and then they'll like restart their Switch so they can host it again. And whatever, if that's what you're cool with, if you like being the person that hosts to make people's days, I get it. And then if you're the person that's like, look, I just don't have 6 hours this weekend to try, and I'm just gonna join one of my friends who did this for me, I get it. I still like the discovery of trying to find it myself.
Steve, we don't all have a billion wishing pieces.
You don't enjoy it because last time I checked, you're like, I'm just going to go around once, and if I don't find it, I'm out. And then you went back right when I found one, and then you got all mad at me because I had a shiny Meowth, and you're like, why didn't you let me know?
Well, you
didn't even care. You didn't care long enough to stay in the game.
Well, that was because Pokemon Snap came out that weekend, and I didn't
Metopia
care.
came out on Friday, and I still got a Wooloo.
Oh, hold on. Side note. I don't think I would like Metopia.
Why?
I don't know.
It's cute.
Yeah. Okay.
It's funny.
Going back,
your friends can join you on adventures.
I was not frustrated at the concept of, I love Meowth. So when Galarian Meowth was featured as a shiny, I would have probably wanted to try to get 6 of them. But they did it on the launch weekend of Pokemon Snap. Not even give Pokemon Snap a week to breathe. And then there
was a Go event that weekend as well, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was the frustrating part, because I did find a shiny Meowth, and I literally just threw a Master Ball at it. I was like, I don't want I want them shiny Meowth, and then I'm moving on.
You used a Master Ball?
Yeah. I like shiny Meowth that much.
I feel betrayed.
Giovanni would be very proud of me.
No, Giovanni never had a Master Ball in his life. Giovanni does it the old way, extortion.
Well, it depends which Giovanni we're talking about.
It's
I mean, there's only Rainbow
Red and
Giovanni
Blue,
left.
Almost. He did. I think pick up the Master Ball, and you have to get it off him. So
Yeah.
this will be bad podcast, but good for video. I got this.
Oh,
This is
yay!
the Pokemon
Nice.
Adventures 3. It is the collector's edition, but it's thick. It's all
Yeah.
the little books that they merged
Yeah.
into one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have all the little books individually because I really like that yellow series.
And so I went to Chicago yesterday, and they have a bookstore attached to Mitsuwa, which is a Japanese marketplace. And they had 2 through 8. They were missing 1. And there's a Dodrio with a saddle on the back here, and then there's a fat Pikachu, which is ultimately what caused me to buy it.
Yes.
that saddle looks attached to its beak.
Yeah, well, it's
dreadful.
the rein, right? The lasso, the
lasso?
The lasso.
yeehaw. The thing that Spectre and Glastier have, the yeehaw.
Yes, they are the reins,
Yeah, the
Reins, yeah,
reins.
not lasso.
not lasso.
Very different thing.
So I was like, I looked them up on Amazon, and they were like $2 cheaper. And I was like, okay, well, instant said gratification. I'm right here. I'll get something, because I never get anything from that bookstore. But I feel bad that I'm the person that always walks around this bookstore every time I go to Mitsuwa, and then I don't get anything.
Why?
Because I feel like if any kind of store needs business, it's a bookstore.
Now, did you get the English translation, or is it Japanese inside?
No, so they have a whole English wall, and then their aisles are like they have like the Japanese aisle, and then like the adult aisle, and then the other Japanese, and the Japanese, and then the adult, and the Japanese. But those are like, but the whole English wall is the English wall. So they did have like in the Japanese aisle, if you search for P, they did have like the Pokemon in Japanese specifically. But when I was going up to buy it, the guy was like, did you read 1 and 2? And I said, nope. And he goes, well, it's a whole different story. And I'm like, yep. That's why I know I don't have to read 1 and 2.
It's a good story too.
But this dude is yellow, but not the yellow in the game. Well, obviously, because he's wearing a cowboy hat.
You need to read that book.
What book?
The
Squirtle
yellow
book?
The yellow, because you just made a whole bunch of mistakes. Read
Look,
the book.
I just bought it. Honestly, you
Read
know what's
the
going to
book.
happen? It's going to sit on a shelf for about 20 years.
I was going to
And then
say, you ever going to take it out of the cellophane?
No, probably not. I bought it because there was a fat Pikachu on the back.
I like how you point out that it's different from. You were going to say the yellow in the game. There is no yellow in the game. The game is ash. That's the entire point of yellow, was that it was meant to be a version that is more closely aligned to
Oh,
Nine.
yeah. But the default name is like yellow. I don't know.
No,
Look,
it's not. It's ash.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Am I going to have to pull out the game and show you? It is.
Look, I don't know what
Ash.
Scotland version of Pokemon Yellow you got, but I'm pretty sure it's like Yellow, Ash, Dean, and like Jacob or something. There's like 4
Well, there are only
names. is there
3.
not?
The 3 names.
What are the 3 names in red? It's like red.
Oh,
Blue, green.
This would be
Red.
on a bar trivia quiz of
It
like
would
what
be.
are the 3 names that you get presented in Pokemon Red, and then because the names in blue are different, right? It's like blue.
yeah.
I don't even think it says Gary though. It doesn't say Gary and Ash for red and blue.
No.
No.
Gary, I think it has for the
No,
rival.
it does have Gary as my rival, because when I started it up, I was with my brother, whose name is Gary, and I was like, "Oh, funny, that's weird," because I didn't know anything about Pokemon. It
Oh,
was
because the
first time
rival
ever
had
playing.
like 3 names too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in
Gary's
Gold
one
and
of the rivals'
Silver,
names.
you
All
don't
right.
get presented with any
All
names.
right.
It's just question mark, question mark,
Do
question
you
mark.
want the spoiler for Pokemon Yellow, the manga?
The 20-year-old manga? Sure.
Yeah. It's not a dude.
This is a Metroid?
Yeah, it's a Metroid.
Well, how
Have
how
you really
how,
not read any of this manga?
how
No.
far into the book do I have to get?
It's in the first 6 chapters, I think.
The first. How many chapters are there?
I don't remember.
They're gonna be like there's 7 chapters.
There's like 8. No, I don't remember how many there are in total.
There is a ROM hack of a Pokemon game that plays through the manga storyline, so that might be better for you, Steve, if you don't actually want to read a book.
Nah. No, I just
Sorry, I
want to buy
suggested
Pokemon.
a ROM hack. Of course, you're not going to do that.
No, I just want to buy. I just like buying Pokemon stuff and then letting it do nothing. That is my. Did we get the names of Red and Blue?
Oh, were we supposed to get those?
You're usually Greg. You're the one that looks things up.
Look, I was looking at how many chapters there are in the Yellow Adventures. I don't remember. How would I search for that?
See, but the thing why I think I gravitated towards this big book is because it's not like 7 little books. Maybe. Yeah. I think I would rather have one universal thing than a bunch of little things. But maybe I'm not sure. Now I'm thinking about how I buy things.
Now it's a little late. One website says it's Yellow, Ash, and Jack for Yellow.
Jack.
I said Jacob. Dang, I was close.
So yellow's before Ash.
Yeah,
all right, fine.
Yellow.
I think
Ash,
the thing
Jack.
is just the color is the first one.
Yeah, well, I knew that was the case for red and blue, but I didn't think that was the case for yellow.
Well, what were they in red? Weren't we asking about red?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure red. I was like taken aback when I played blue, and like it was like blue and then 2 names that were not my name, and I was like, how could they? It was like Timothy or David or something.
Not Timothy. I don't think you could do that many characters, but yeah, it was red and then 2 other just random names.
Yeah, they were pretty generic, like boy names. Sorry to anyone named whatever the red and blue are. As Greg looks that up, I'll queue up the next news here.
You think Bulbapedia would have it?
They probably do under some weird trivia section.
Probably.
We're getting to the time frame where it would have been quicker just to boot up the game and start a new one. But
I mean,
this is on Pokemon.com. Luminous Legends Y introduces Sylveon and Yveltal to Pokemon Go. Challenge Team Go Rocket. I hate that name still. Team Go Rocket. And complete themed research during this 2-part event. Part 1 is over. Skip to part 2. The second part started Tuesday. Oh, sorry. The second part starts this Tuesday, May 25th from 10 a.m. to Monday, May 31st to 8 p.m. During part 2, you'll be able to add Sylveon to your Pokedex by earning a lot of hearts with an Eevee when it's your buddy. It doesn't say here, and I don't know if Niantic has said it, but the Data Mine said that it was 30 hearts, which is pretty easy, I think, to get. If you've done the buddy stuff, it's pretty easy to get about 10 a day if you're not even trying. There will also be a Sylveon-inspired avatar in the shop to celebrate the intertwining Pokemon's debut in Pokemon Go. Several other Eevee evolutions, like Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon, Espeon, and Umbreon, will be appearing in 3-star raids for part 2 of the event. You can also earn encounters with Eevee and some of its evolutions by completing field research tests, and you can earn Poffins by completing event-exclusive AR mapping research. Eevee and Sylveon aren't the only Pokemon to be in the spotlight of part 2. Pokemon appearing more in the wild, like Ralts, Spritzy, Swirlix, and several Dark-type Pokemon that were featured in part 1 will also be featured in this event. Plus, 7K eggs will include Eevee, Cleffa, Igglybuff, Togepi, Azurill, Spritzy, and Swirlix.
how can I find it for the rival and not for the main?
Did you find main?
It was Blue, Gary, and John were the rivals, but I can't find it for the main.
Oh.
Internet, why are you bad?
It's kind of crazy how much Pokemon information is out there that like Cerebi doesn't document. Like Cerebi documents a lot of the gameplay stuff, but like I saw Joe tweet at PokeJungle. We've had PokeJungle and Joe both on the show. But like PokeJungle will tweet a lot of Japanese merchandise when it's released.
Mm-hmm.
There's like no merchandise stuff on Cerebi. Like,
yeah,
which is kind of like there, as somebody who just bought an $18 book that will gather a bunch of dust on the shelf. there's a lot of Pokemon merchandise, and I don't even know where to go to like look up that stuff. Like, there's not a website out there that documents that. I mean, Bulbapedia has some merchandise documented. Like I'm sure you can look up the Burger King gold cards on Bulbapedia, and you can look up I want to say Bulbapedia's card database is better than Cerebee's, but I'm sure there's an even better database out there.
Yeah, I suspect it's just because there's a ridiculous amount of it, right? Like how far levels do you go down? Like even if you just talk about cards, that's so many cards, and then there's the plushes, and there's the manga. There's just so many things. Where do you stop?
According to this YouTube Let's Play that I just started watching, it's Red, Ash, and Jack. So they only changed it to Yellow, Ash, and Jack. They only changed the yellow.
Jack got double dipping.
Jack has been there all along. It's been Jack the entire time.
Interesting.
But if you were ideally to start databasing merch, I think databasing the history of merch would be harder than keeping up with it, because there has to be like at least PokeJungle knows when the Japanese stuff comes out, because he's on top of it every 2 weeks.
So much merch. That would be like, you would have to database each tiny figure if you're going for the merch in Japan. So which means you have to catalog each figure, and then when they changed, as well as every plush and every sitting cutie, as long as every time they've changed those. Plus
but sitting cuties is easy. You know that there's going to be one.
Every shirt they've ever made, every plate, every butter dish. Like that is a massive amount of work for nobody who cares.
Yeah. I think the issue,
I think people do care.
The main issue I don't think is actually keeping that up to date. It's actually making it useful. Like how do you categorize that? You know, do you just have a massive list and you just have a search in it? Like it's an insane level of detail you'd have to go in for it to be truly useful. That's multiple people's full-time jobs.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I can barely navigate Cerebee as it is, much less the Cerebee merchandise database.
Well, like, I think that's a Cerebee issue rather than anything else.
Like I have a bunch of Pokemon merch that I don't know exactly when it was made. So it'd be interesting to like look that up. But yeah,
wait, don't they have tags on them? Or is this like
I have, for example, I have like 2 Pokemon bandanas that only came from Japan. There was a point in time. I don't think you can do this anymore, but back in like 2013, what I would do is I would go to eBay every night, and then I would search free shipping, and then I would search Pokemon Center, the word Pokemon Center, and then I would sort by ending soon. And there would be a bunch of things mislabeled that like didn't get any bids, but it would be free shipping, and then it would only be like $4 or $5. And I would order that stuff, and it would be stuff from the official Pokemon Center in Japan. So you get those like tiny little cups that they have, or in the case, bandanas. And I would only pay just a couple bucks for each of them, and they would be free shipping because I would only filter by free shipping. And I would get a bunch of weird Pokemon Center trinkets and stuff every couple weeks, because
it was like your own bizarre loot crate.
It kind of was.
Why? And what did you do with it? Did you just put it in a box?
Yeah, have you looked behind him?
Have you seen this disaster that is behind me?
Seen.
But like looking behind me, like I have something like this, which in this is the Pokemon Go Fest. I guess it has a date on it, so I could be like, oh, it's 2019. Yeah. But if it didn't have that date, in like 15 years, people would be like, oh, what Pokemon event was that from?
Nobody I don't think anyone's saying it's not that to you.
I'm not suggesting, I suspect Greg is suggesting this, but I'm not suggesting that such a database would not be useful.
I am.
I'm saying that the level of detail would be too much. And not just that, you've got to remember, it's obviously not just America, but it's also not just Japan. There are many different things in different countries that only released in that one country. And good luck finding English translations of those to figure out the data for it.
Amazon already struggles with keeping their merchandise in order, much less a giant database of all-time Pokemon stuff.
I would say though that a merch database would be complicated. I don't want to downplay that it wouldn't be complicated, but like documenting an entire game like Black 2 White 2 is probably more complicated than saying like these 150 sitting cuties came out in July
you're taking a very limited number there, right?
Like there's
I could say the same thing about Black 2. It's not I'll take a long time to just write down all the Pokemon names, right? But that's not all it is. There's so much more to it. And I guess with a game, there's ignoring DLC, there's a limit. Going in, once you get to the end, that's it. That's everything. And it doesn't just add on to it. Whereas with merchandising, there's always going to be more, right? Pokemon's never finishing. Let's be honest.
Like there's not regional variants that I know of Pokemon Black 2. Like there isn't a secret Chinese version that had different Pokemon in it. Once you catalog it for one, you've cataloged it for everybody.
You have to catalog like 800 moves, the abilities,
which are 90% the same as the previous game.
Yeah, they're same as it's a copy and paste. We've known they've been copying and pasting forever, and so has Joe.
And
it's just a copy and paste at that point.
You know that Joe works with data miners, right? He's not typing all of that up manually.
Yeah. I mean, like data mine, export all 800 moves. Okay, copy and paste.
So much quicker.
Moves.
The data miners have that within minutes of getting the game.
I mean, I suppose we could technically hack into somebody's, the Pokemon Center's internal merchandise database and ordering system and copy and paste.
There's somebody
Pokemon
uploading the night before.
There's no way that even the Pokemon Company International has a list of all of this. There's no way they do. They'll have a list of who they've approved to make specific things.
They might have a list more recently. Like, I started this job in 2018 and I have documented everything that I've published.
Nobody's paid that much money.
No.
I mean, I work for a thing that sells cell phones, and we do not keep ongoing lists of the cell phones that we used to have. Once they're obsolete, they are purged from the system and we do not care anymore. That's what Wikipedia is.
That's actually a good point. Have you ever tried to find a list of all the phones?
Yeah.
And there are many
fewer
more
phones
Pokemon
than
things.
Pokemon. They're Pokemon merchandise. I mean, Nokia keeps track of all of their models up to a point until they're obsolete.
I'm sure phone companies keep track of their own models, but that's significantly. They're only really releasing like 5 phones a year.
And then you dump them. You purge. You always got to purge.
Hey, I'm just saying there's maybe a market out there for a merch database, although probably way too much time and not probably worth any of the effort.
It sounds like you found a new project. PKMNcast merch database.
Get some advertisers. Right off the tongue.
That's exactly what Steve needs. More things to do.
I mean,
I know he sleeps. This is off Pokemon GO Live. We talked about it last week. Just bringing it up again. Sunday, June 6th from 11 to 5 local. Gible will be appearing in the wild. If you evolve Gible into Garchomp, it will know Earth Power. The scam box is back with 1,200 coins, 50 Ultra Balls.
Yep.
For $1, you get a exclusive research called Just a Nibble, which is a pretty good title, actually. 3 times the catch experience, and then incense will last for 3 hours. I don't know why it's not in here. I did ask Niantic for clarification. They did say that Mega Garchomp will not be available during this event.
Boo.
Which is a bummer.
Yep.
They said it will be available at a later date. But I guess, and I misspoke last week. I made an error last week. My brain went to mush, which is 90% of the time. I said that when you mega evolve your Pokemon, you get mega energy back when you catch. I messed up. You get extra candy when you catch. So
I don't
so
need
when
more
you make
candy.
so okay, so like with Mega Pidgeot, you would get bonus candy for catching flying type Pokemon because Mega Pidgeot is flying. So when you were catching Swablu, instead of 3 candy, you would get 4 candy. So for Gible, because Gible is dragon ground, is Gible dragon ground or is Gible just dragon?
I think it's ground all the way through.
You would want to Mega Evolve Altaria so that instead of 3 candy for Gible, you would get 4.
It is dragon ground, yeah.
I don't think we have a ground Mega right now. Lopunny is fighting and normal.
No.
So your only option is Altaria.
I guess I got to do that final raid to get the final candy then.
Yeah, I don't think I have enough energy.
I don't think I care enough.
But you wanna stock up on the Gible candy.
Why? You know how many Gible I catch with pineapple berries? I have so many candies at the end of it that I do not use.
Pineapple plus the
gives me more candy that I won't use. I sit on tons of candy. What am I going to do with it?
You don't power up, do you, Greg?
I only power them up if I'm going to use them.
Yeah,
you would
you
want to use. Garchomp is
big
good
numbers
to use.
I mean, if I get 3-star or close to 100%, then I might use it to power up, and then I'll make that choice. But that is pretty rare since all my shiny catches are generally bad. They're all generally bad CP with bad stars.
I mean, I will power up a shiny, but if I don't have a shiny, I'll power up a non-shiny. It's fine. I don't, whatever, as long as it gets me through a raid or a Team Go Rocket battle.
We would probably Minnesota people. We're probably going back to the art park.
That
it's nice out again, we can actually go outside.
I have 180 mega energy for Altaria. Is Altaria still in raids?
Yes.
Okay, because I need to do one more then.
I've done none.
I need one more as well.
I did the old Mega Houndoom last night. Gotta make sure that candy is stocked up.
I don't have it in me to hear this again.
All right. So there you go. If you want to go all out for Gible, you'll want to have Mega Altaria as it doesn't have to be your buddy. You just have to Mega Evolve it.
So you can just stock let up on candy. Sit there and rot.
So you'll probably want to do maybe make sure your Altaria is ready to go for June 6th. I think this is going to be the first one I do all 6 hours. Like I'm legit excited for Gible.
Not Gardevoir. Would Gyarados? Because doesn't Gyarados turn into?
No, it's dark.
Oh, it's dark.
Water dark. Yeah.
I thought it was Dragon for some reason. It's Lance. Lance messes me up every time because of Pokemon Masters.
You could do Ampharos.
Oh,
actually.
Charizard.
You could do Charizard. You could do Ampharos.
Yeah.
So get back in the box, Altaria.
I think though you would maybe want to do Altaria though, because technically fairies would still be spawning because of the Luminous event. So you get the bonus from fairy as well.
How?
I thought it was dark that we're doing Luminous event.
Because you get bonus candy per your type. So since your type is Dragon Fairy, which is Mega Altaria, for every Gible you catch, you get the bonus. And then for any fairies you catch before or after the event, you get the bonus.
I didn't realize that Mega Altaria got fairy type.
Yeah.
I thought it was still normal.
No, it's fairy dragon, but it's still bad. it's not bad because of its typing. Competitively in VGC, it's bad because of its stats. It could be better. Anyways.
Everything could be better.
But yes, you could do Charizard and you could do Ampharos. I can't believe I completely forgot about this too.
And you want to have a merchandise database.
Yeah. So I know when those bandanas were produced. Okay. We will be right back and we'll talk. We got to talk about Walmart. We'll be right back. Done dance. Do dance. Done dance. Do dance. Done dance. Do dance.
Abundance.
done dance. Do damn dance. Done dance. Do damn dance. Done dance. Do damn dance. Abundance.
Done dance. Do damn dance. Done dance.
Do damn dance. Done dance.
Do damn dance. Abundance.
Done dance. Do damn dance. Done dance. Do damn dance. Done dance. Do damn dance. Abundance. And we are back from our break. Does Scotland have Walmart?
No.
Does Scotland have Target?
I believe, no, we don't. I think Target tried to launch in England and didn't really. Oh, no, that was Best Buy, not Target. I believe until 2 years ago, Asda, which is one of our supermarkets, was owned by Walmart, but they are no longer. They're now owned by a random rich person.
Random rich people.
That brand recognition, random rich. Okay, this article makes me mad.
Okay. So Bobby from our Slack sent in an article last week. I opted not to read it, but now we're reading it this week because there's another article that it pairs with very nicely. So this is off theverge.com. Walmart confirms it is indeed still selling Pokemon cards. And this was because last week Target pulled Pokemon. We'll just, not everyone listens to every episode. We'll just read what happened here. Irene actually didn't know this happened. I was talking to Irene in the car yesterday when we were driving home, and she was like, wait, Target doesn't sell Pokemon cards anymore? So Walmart confirmed on an email to The Verge on Friday that it is not suspending the sale of trading cards, including Pokemon cards that Target recently took off the shelves. There have been reports on social media of people seeing signs at Walmart stores indicating that the retailer would no longer be selling the cards, but that is not the official policy. The Pokemon Company has been rushing to produce more cards. There have been fights in parking lots and heists. And it has gotten to the point where Target has called it quits, posting signs informing customers that Pokemon, MLB, NFL, and NBA cards
the ones that are important, the MLB, NFL, and NBA cards. Like, let's be real.
It's just baseball. No, I think there are a couple basketball cards that are doing well. In a statement to The Verge, Target has temporarily suspended, was done because of an abundance of caution for its safety and for its customers. Walmart did say, in fact, that they have seen an increased demand for cards and that it was determining what, if any, changes needed to be met while still keeping everyone safe. So far, it is unclear if the situation will change for Walmart. Well, this week has proved differently.
Well, record scratch to this week.
I hate this article and all of these articles, because if you do the Command F, or I don't know what it is on Windows, the Control F, and you type in sports or MLB or baseball, nothing comes up because they just assume that it's all Pokemon cards, which is not. And if you watch this video,
it's not Pokemon cards.
It's not Pokemon cards. I mean, there are Pokemon cards somewhere in there, but
yeah.
All of these men, all of these grown
baseball
babies
hat wearing men, P-point baseball hat wearing men are going insane in the Walmart.
Okay, so this is off Kotaku. This was sent in by Alex. Thank you, Alex. Chaos at Walmart as people rush to buy Pokemon cards. Again, There's not any Pokemon cards that I see in this video, but this is all part of the problem and the narrative that people are doing because the Pokemon card thing gets more clicks than saying baseball cards, I guess.
Yeah.
The continued shortage of Pokemon cards. Again, nowhere in this article do they bring up sports cards. Fueled by the pandemic, Twitch streams and scalpers have led to a chaotic situation at Walmart in Pennsylvania. The moment the stores opened, folks began to run to the section of the store where trading cards are sold, leading to chaos and one sad night. This video captured by an Instagram user and shared by a Twitter user, around a dozen or more people that can be seen rushing to the entrance of Walmart the moment the doors were unlocked at 7 a.m., but they were there to buy up the newly stocked Pokemon cards again.
And sports cards.
Sports cards. I actually still don't. There might be Pokemon cards in here. I didn't see any, and the video is. I watched the video.
I mean, it's 34 seconds long, so you don't see the whole instance. But
the one thing you do see, so to describe this video to an audio podcast, you do see somebody filming, obviously from the back, and then in front of them is probably like maybe about 8 to 10 people, and then two of the people have carts.
Yeah.
And when they turn the corner to where the cards are, there's a guy who is, this is the main thing you see. His cart is already full of sports cards.
Yep.
There's not a single Pokemon card in his cart. And he continues to put more things in his cart, all sports related.
Yep.
I don't know what sports. I'm assuming baseball.
Well, any of them, like baseball, basketball, and football, all have their own cards.
And there are like two guys out of like the 10 that like are debating whether they want to like grab anything. That's like the thing that stood out to me is like these two guys that are like, that's like me in a situation where I'm just like, it's all gone. There's no point in trying.
This is why your child would never have gotten a Cabbage Patch Kid.
I do find this video odd, right? Because now I'm not going to justify this and say these people are fine, right?
But like, they're not fine.
Because I do think that just like imagine spending your life like that. But other than the fact that this is obviously a pandemic and maybe don't get that close to people, I don't actually see anything actively wrong there. Like there's no fighting, there's no threatening, there's no grabbing from other people's arms or carts. Like it's a little bit immature, but like it's not like that one that was a couple of weeks ago with the gun being drawn. There's nothing really happening in this.
I mean, this is not as bad as a Black Friday stampede. Right? There's nobody like in the video. Granted, the video is only 34 seconds that I can see. So there could have been grabbing and hustling after. But in this, they are just scooping up what they can, and each one like is stuck with the section that they have. And the one guy sort of reaching in and just scooping things into his cart at a good old sweeping basis.
This reminded me a lot of Black Friday. But what I don't understand is like Walmart literally released a press release. We just read it saying like, we know that the TCG situation is bad. And this Walmart, of course, there's thousands of Walmarts. They all have different managers, different rules, different employees. Maybe this Walmart was short on employees when they opened the doors. They know this is an issue. And I don't understand how, with all the Black Fridays that America has suffered, how is there not form a line, stay in that line, and then we have a limit here, and the limit is 2 or 3 or 4, and then you go down the aisle, you grab your 5, go to register. You go down the aisle, how is this not a just process that we just have?
Especially just now, because I don't know if it's the same over in America, but like we have quite strict limits as to how many people are allowed in stores just now anyway. And so like, I don't know, maybe I just live in a politer place. I don't know. But
yes, you probably do.
Well,
like, in fact, most of our supermarkets now actually have traffic lights on the door. It's a bit weird, but like, and they stop it when there's too many people in. So you could absolutely do. Like we've already got things that we're dealing with right now for a different situation.
Yeah, I mean, so I will say this: it's at store opening. There are 10 people. Like Walmarts are huge, even at best right now, which, before things changed, it was 25% capacity. Well, a Walmart can hold 1,000 people. So you're not going to be like, these 10 people are over capacity. Like they're right there at store open. Now, it could be that they didn't expect them to be there and they didn't have the greeters up front. But it looks like they also went around a way that didn't sort of present the standard gates that you have to go through to get into a Walmart. Like this seems like a slightly unusual Walmart situation that these all knew about it. But who knows? Who knows what happened on this particular day?
I remember during Black Fridays, and this was probably 10 years ago now, if not more, that Best Buy would hand out numbers to people.
Yes.
And like there was no way around it. Even if you wanted, even when the doors open and you rushed, they would serve like a deli. They would serve the numbers in the order. Hey, we're serving number 5.
Yep.
Like, why did number 5 rush past numbers 1 through 4? You're number 5. I remember when the Wii U came out.
So long ago. The halcyon days of the Wii U.
In demand.
The story is going to come full circle. When the Wii U came out, I went to that Target that the gun was pulled out of last week. That was the Target I went to. I went to that Target at 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I parked in the parking lot. No one else was there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Target opened at 7, if I remember correctly. And the first other car to pull up was at 6. And they gave me the look, and I gave them the look.
What's
and
the look?
The look was, we're both going to sit in our car together because it's too cold outside.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then a third car pulled up at like 20 minutes before store opened, and they got out and they stood in line. So me and the other guy, we looked at each other, and there was no debate. He was like, you were here before me, so you're going to be second in line. And I was like, cool, I'm cool with being second. I don't need to be first. I know they have more than one Wii U.
You hope.
Big assumption, but
so the other guy he's already standing. I'm in second, third, and then in the next 20 minutes, we get a line of maybe like 20 people. And the Target employee opens the door and says, okay, all the Wii U's are in electronics. We're going to walk you back there. Like, stay in line. And there was still this people still just push past other people. Like, even though the line formed on the outside, there was still like this weird rush. And it's so frustrating that like grown adults can't operate like school kids and just, hey, you were 6th in line here. Why are you pushing to number 1? Like,
so to be
hold
fair,
your position in line.
If there weren't adults around, school kids would behave the exact same way. If you've ever had to deal with a number of school kids and you're the only adult and they don't care about you, they do the same thing. Adults don't listen to other adults if there's something that they want. Like, we haven't changed that much.
Yes, like, out of all of these releases, whether it's Pokemon or TVs or consoles, like, how have we not, as a society, figured out the line?
So we have, like, the line in America is very sacred. Like, you can ask other countries and they are weirded out about how strict we are about our lines. The thing is that the companies want the free footage of both, here's a product that people want and there's a super demand for it to make people think, oh, I want to go get this. And they also want just the free mention of their store. Like, there really isn't bad publicity here because everybody's going to look at those people and say, well, they are misbehaving people who are treating this poor store poorly. There's very little in the stories that hurt the store. So they have very little, especially on things like Black Fridays, where they're trying to build up hype for retail for the next month and a half. They like having footage of people rushing into the stores and saying they want these great deals. They want those things to happen.
I totally get that these people are not getting paid enough. But also, like, I have seen it where Target employees getting paid like $8.75, which is what Target employees get paid in Wisconsin, which is not the correct
enough.
wage. Not enough, but there is an authority that they have where they can say, get in a line, stay in a line, and people will listen. But then there are I don't know, at least I've been in situations where that works.
It is a hit or miss process, and I'm gonna say, after a year of trying to tell people to comply with mask requirements, I do not blame these employees for being like, I'm done. I'm not even doing this anymore. I'm done. They don't listen to me about this. I don't care about this thing. Just do it. You're paying me.
Yeah, I am sure that's a lot of
barely
people.
living wage.
Like, go at it. I'm not stocking the shelf.
I'm not stocking the shelves. I don't even want to have to tell you that some of you aren't wearing masks when you should be. We're done. Like, I think it would be different. It would all be different if we didn't have this last year and a half of just pure chaos built into the system of overworked and tired employees and bizarre demand for product.
It might be like store related too, like seeing this in a Walmart being like, yep, that seems like Walmart customers. And then, like, I feel like people were shocked last week that it was like Target. It was like, oh, Target, that these are Target. Like, when I went to Mitsuwa yesterday, it was, you had to wait in line to get into the store because they were limiting people, which does not happen at a Target or a Walmart anymore. You just walk on in. Yeah. And you still had to have your mask, and everyone had masks. Everyone waited in the store. Like, there was no commotion. The store was relatively empty because they were saying, like, we only want this many people in. But there was like no bad behavior. There was no like, but you don't get that at like a Walmart. A Walmart is like, it's a free for all.
I mean, I think it's they have a built-in. Like, every store has a built-in reputation about how far you will push it. And, there are definitely targets that people view very differently than other targets. Like, behavior changes depending on what people have tolerated at that store. And I think, right or wrong, there is a hierarchy of big box stores about what the store looks like and how appropriate it is to behave in those stores. I think the reputation of Walmart is not great. There are websites devoted to how not great Walmart is, and people will respect and comply to that store based on how they believe that store should be treated. So, I mean, yeah, we all say it's not surprising it's a Walmart. Well, it's because we all tend to think Walmart's garbagey. So, of course, they're not. And I know they're not. I know Walmart people aren't paid a ton of money, just like Target people aren't paid a ton of money. But Target puts in a lot of effort to represent a quote unquote higher brand than Walmart, which is like, we are here for discounts. And they're very different philosophies.
I have lots of opinions about American shops.
I bet you do, and they're all good because America, heck yeah, we know how to retail.
And the intricacies of each different one, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's interesting because, like, I you may have seen this on the Slack. I talked a little bit about how we obviously don't have the sports cards, because like all of the sports cards that you guys have in America are sports that we don't care about here, right? And so they don't really exist. We have an equivalent thing, but it's not something that's a trading card. It's not sold in where trading cards are sold. And so there are Pokemon cards in every shop that I've been in that sell Pokemon cards, but the demand is definitely still there. They are selling out more. Well, according to all of the people I have talked to in the stores, the workers there, that could be just based on these sorts of reporting. You never know whether they actually mean that they have seen more people buying Pokemon cards just now than not. Who actually knows what these things are like? But I've certainly not these. I mean, obviously, it doesn't really make. It's not a good comparison because the numbers are so massively different. But all of the reporting is coming out of America about these sorts of events.
I would like to point out, Al, that we do have soccer trading cards that on this website, a box is selling for $500 of all the great soccer stars. And there is even a Euro soccer trading card box coming soon. You could get into this. You could be the first to bring trading card mania to Europe.
I'm a well-known
new business opportunity for you.
Well-known fan of football, soccer. If you must.
Well, I know. Okay, so there was a point earlier this year where English collectors were frustrated that they couldn't get English cards, so they started getting Japanese cards, which were relatively easy to get, but were always sold at an upcharge just because of imports and, very limited where you can get it. So for example, if I wanted to get like Dream League, which ended up being our Cosmic Eclipse, Dream League would have been like $40, give or take USD. But you would see that a lot of times on Amazon or eBay for $50 to $60. And that was just normal prices. But now, because so many people had the same thought process of like, well, if I can't get English cards, I'll collect Japanese cards.
Yeah.
It caused the Japanese market to go up. So now like that same box of Dream League is like 120 USD, which is like it. And again, and I think I said this last week, I'll say it this week. This is why I'm frustrated with this Kotaku article. They don't talk about the sports cards being the issue. And again, if sports cards were gone, if Target didn't sell sports cards, it would still be slightly harder to find Pokemon cards. I am not discounting that, but these people are putting anything they can in their shelves. And if they're getting up at 7 a.m. and Joe Six-Pack over here is putting all the baseball cards in his cart, they're going to be like, well, I know Pokemon cards are at least money, so I'm going to put those in my cart.
Yeah.
And this is what's happening. That's why it's very easy, in my opinion, at least in the Milwaukee area, to find Pokemon cards at Barnes & Noble because they don't sell sports cards. And so those scalpers, resellers, are not going there. They're going to Walmarts and Targets and, well, not Targets anymore. But anyways, it's very frustrating. I will say that Battle Styles has been easier to find as of this whole week. You can get multiple stores on the internet. As of this past week, you can get 36 packs of Battle Styles for $99, which is what it used to be before the pandemic. I got Vivid Voltage for $99. I got Cosmic Eclipse for $99. I got Unbroken Bonds for $99. Like, this is what I normally pay. And then because of the pandemic, I paid $120 for Battle Styles before Battle Styles came out. And now I can find Battle Styles for $99 for 36 packs. So it's getting better. That, to be fair, Battle Styles doesn't have a Charizard, doesn't have Pikachu. Chilling Reigns is coming out in a month, doesn't have a Charizard, doesn't have a Pikachu. It should be easier to find. Fads come and go. I'm be very curious if the people who were so adamant in getting Mick Champion's Path or Darkness Ablaze, if they're going to keep doing this, because they don't know who an Urshifu is. They don't know what a Calyrex is. They don't know what even though Chilling Reigns should have Articuno, Moltres, Zapdos, they're Galarian. They don't look the same. So we'll see when that comes out. But this is off bleedingcool.com. Evolving Skies will be coming after Chilling Reigns. Evolving Skies is set to release on August 27th. And the reason I pulled this article is because it talks about what could possibly be in Evolving Skies based off Japanese sets. So right now, the next set coming out, which is very hyped in Japan, and again, I think because so many English people were frustrated that they couldn't get English cards, and because it being Eevee, a lot of people are importing Eevee Heroes, which is the Japanese release set. It's Eevee themed. It will feature VMAX alternative art of the Eeveelutions. This should be a $40 to $50 box USD. It is going for about 150 USD right now, which is a lot. It is titled Evolving Skies, which is a reference to Roaring Skies, a Rayquaza themed set. The Evolving probably to reference Eevee is what Bleeding Cool is reporting. So it is very likely that Evolving Skies will feature pretty much all of the Eevee Heroes stuff. Sky Stream is the upcoming Rayquaza themed set in Japan, which will release on July 9th. Number of cards from this set, we will know Rayquaza VMAX. And they're saying because of Sky Stream and Eevee Heroes, it's very likely that Evolving Skies features both of those sets. Towering Perfection, which is the sister set to Sky Stream, will focus on Duraludon, which is the towering part. They're really going into this name. It's very likely. It's very likely that these are the sets. And then Matchless Fighter, Silver Lance, Jet Black Poltergeist is what is making up Chilling Reign. Because these Japanese sets, for those that don't know, are normally like 80 to like 110 cards. And then an English set is like 280 cards. It's like 3 sets normally combined. So it's a lot. And then in August, when Evolving Skies does come out, that will be rotation. So we will be getting rid of probably everything Sun and Moon, and it will probably be Sword and Shield and newer going on. And we'll probably learn, I'm assuming in August, whether actual events are going to come back, which I'm going to say probably they're going to try it because they probably want to get Worlds done and over with at this point. And
I bet they regret choosing London as 2020 because they can't not do it in London now, so they just keep changing when London's going to be. And I bet they're like, it's always looking forwards to doing this one in London. It's like we can't just do one in America.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't even do spectators even in 2022.
Yeah. I mean, haven't they been cutting down on spectators for a while now?
Yeah, at a certain point it was it first? No, it was first DC, I think, because it was like DC and then it was Nashville. And then was it back to DC? So I remember going to Nashville and then I remember going to DC. But Nashville, you had to buy a ticket and the ticket was $10 or maybe it was $12. But they would give you booster packs. So you would get the ticket and then you would get like 3 booster packs. So you were saving like $2 on booster packs. Because 3 booster packs would be technically $12. The ticket was $10. But you could order the ticket ahead of time, which was, I don't even remember if they had a dedicated site for it or if it was just on Pokemon.com. But tickets didn't sell out right away. They sold out within like 2 weeks. But you would go, you would buy a ticket. And then you would show up, you would give your name, they would hand you your ticket, your 3 booster packs, and you would be in. But yeah, they were limiting spectators through ticketed prices. And they started that right before Nashville. It was the same as DC. And I think DC might have sold out a little bit quicker. But it was never like, oh my gosh, I sold out in the first day.
There is a risk that might end if they do. Let's assume that they have spectators, right? Because let me tell you, if the only Pokemon World Championships to happen in Europe doesn't allow spectators, I'm sorry, I'm rioting, right?
riding the
fine. I
activity
need
of
to
your
try and
people.
qualify then, I guess. There is a risk in that if they have spectators, it does sell out incredibly quickly, because with all of the American ones, it's not like, oh, this might be my only chance to go to it. That's a realistic possibility. And you have a large population center in around London, and Paris is not far away. There's a large selection of France that are very close to London. You can get to the train from Paris to London in about an hour and a half, right? These things are incredibly close. The number of people who'd be like, this might be my only chance without having to fly to America, that it could sell out incredibly quickly.
Yeah. Well, when you put it that way, yeah, because they'll be like, well, I don't know when it's ever going to come back to.
Yeah, exactly.
Even with Canada, I remember so many Americans being like, ugh, I have to get a passport. And it's like, well, Canada's like right there. But it was still, I heard from event organizers, it was like a nightmare getting just volunteers that were supposed to be judges. It was like a nightmare to get them over into Canada.
It's much more common in Europe to have a passport, I think.
Yes, it absolutely is. I mean, I now
so
have
there's
a driver's
less of a
license
barrier
that allows me to get into Canada.
If they don't want an event to sell out, you just have it in Hawaii, because the flight will deter so many people. Like, no, a flight to Hawaii is just. Ugh.
I mean, I still want to go to Hawaii though. Like, I'll go.
I mean,
Heck
if there's a Pokemon event, I'll go too. But
Hawaii's beautiful. I mean, you have to. It's a vacation, but it's going to be a vacation anyways where I go.
I mean, it's not that. It's obviously not their fault. It was a worldwide pandemic, but I felt like the Pokemon World events were gaining so much momentum in being something that people wanted to go to every year.
Yeah.
And early on, when I went to my first World Championship, which was in 2011 or 2012, it was when the Black and White games came out. There was really nothing to do. You like at the time, it was in San Diego, and it was in a hotel, very nice hotel, and you could participate in the last chance qualifier. And at that specific event, which was not ticketed, that last chance qualifier was so big that there was over 1,000 people who signed up for last chance qualifier, and over 200 people got first round buys. Like, they just couldn't sit that many people. So they were like, you 200 people, you're already making it to round 2, because we don't have a table for you.
Wow.
We have no one to sit down. And at the time, their Pokemon Center was so small that people lined up on Thursday night, all night at like 8 p.m. And they went in, and it opened at 8, and they limited like 2 items per person, and it sold out by like noon. And the Pokemon Center there was closed the rest of the event. You couldn't buy anything. And that was all there was. There was like side tournaments, but you could watch the matches, you could participate in last chance, you could participate inside, and that was it. That was all there was to do. It was like, oh, I came all the way out here for like, I couldn't even buy anything. And it was like, there's no Pokemon Go at the time. But when I went to the Nashville World Tournament, you could play Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee early. There were side tournaments. They did a better job at presenting Pokken and TCG and VGC on stage. They made Pokemon Go feel like an event while you were down there. There was Unknown that spelled out, I don't know, whatever. Worlds or something. You could get a Meloetta. They had a huge Pokemon Center. And at DC, where Greg went, that was your first one, right, Greg?
I've never been to Worlds.
Oh yeah, you didn't go to that Worlds.
Mm-mm.
That was Will. At the
I
DC,
was going to go to London.
At the DC one, they did everything that Nashville did, and they did it. They added more stuff to it. I mean, you could play Sword and Shield for the first time at the DC one. So it really felt like, London was going to be like that first for people, being like, well, I went to Nashville, I went to DC, I've never left the country, but I'm going to leave the country for Pokemon.
As a side note, I think I've just remembered, they did, was it 2 years ago roughly, they had that pop-up Pokemon
Mhm,
Center in London.
Mhm.
I bet that was a test to see what the demand was like, because they were like, we might want to do this in London, but is there actually demand for it? And it sold out. It was like dead for
Yeah.
most of the was it 2 weeks or something? Ironically, I was in London the day after it closed, and I never go to London. It was very annoying. It was so late, but anyway, not a point, not important. So yeah, that had raised in my mind. I wonder if that was a test for whether they wanted to do Worlds in London or not.
But that London store, they were having problems keeping things in stock too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people were lining up very early for it.
I don't think they initially had a limit on things, but like after 2 hours they did. It was like literally on the same day they were like, right, so a limit of 5 items.
And I want to say they also limited like the time you could spend in the store too, or something like that, because they were just trying to get so many people through.
Yeah. There was always a queue, just always.
Yeah, that had you get the hats, the Pikachu with the London hat. I don't know what that hat's called.
Oh, the Beefeater's hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think those Pikachus were going for a decent amount on eBay at the time too. Which is all the only reason to have Pokemon merch is to sell it for more money on eBay. We all know that. If you ever decide to sell out, Steve, you'll be rich. That's true. Yeah, I mean, I've been saving Pokemon merch for years.
I mean, where's
your
your
retirement plan?
How do we know? How do you even know without a database what your potential return on investment is?
That's very true. That's very
Get
true.
going. Like you're going to sell a bandana, put it up on eBay and say bandana from I don't know when and I don't know where. It just got Pokemon on it. $5,000.
We'll have no Pokemon of the week because Will is not here, but I do want Al's impressions on Pokemon Snap.
Oh, yeah. I've actually not played a huge amount of it. And so I suspect I'll not have a huge amount interesting. I'm not I've played it for a few hours, and generally I think it's fun. I don't think it's my kind of game. Like I will play through it. I will spend a ridiculous amount of time playing through it all and completing it because that's what I do, right? I complete things even if I'm not enjoying them. But
why?
Because
I have a lot of bad habits, but I don't have that one.
Why? If you're not having a good time, just leave it.
Look. I mean,
Al has never
Scottish,
walked
right?
out on a movie.
Oh,
that's not true. I walked out of one.
Oh, okay. All right.
Silent Hill.
Oh, well, valid.
Yeah.
Did not like that. But no, other than that, no, of course not. Why would I? I've paid my money. What the reason why I'm very happy that I haven't.
I just can't.
I suspect my nephews will enjoy the game very much, and that's why I'm glad I bought it. It's fine, right? I get why people like it, and I think it's a really good idea. And you know, let's be honest, if they do a third one, I will probably buy that as well because I buy all things Pokemon. But it's maybe it's the sort of thing that once I get more into it, I will probably get hooked. I think that's part of my issue is that when I start a game, there's like a time period where I go on and off with it until I actually go, right, no, now I've got it and I'm in and I'm hooked for 40 hours. Yeah.
I think, and I don't know if we mentioned this, but I do. It's so funny that it took over 20 years for a sequel to a game that people wanted for a very long time, right? Like even when Pokemon, like I don't know when sequel fever ever happened. I don't know if like everyone always wants a sequel to something, or everyone wants a sequel to a movie or a video game. I don't like. I was a dumb kid when Snap came out and the internet wasn't a thing until several years after. So like,
for you, I was not a dumb kid. The internet was definitely a thing when I was playing Snap.
A very poor family. We couldn't afford the AOL dial-up at the time, Greg. We couldn't afford the computer.
how did you not have 50,000 free hours from discs just spread around your house? I mean, you look at somebody like, you want an AOL disc, it's free.
So I don't know what the opinion at the time was. Obviously, as I got older and everyone wants, sequels to everything, but they did like the Snap just did so many things right that like on the show weeks and months up to like, I don't know if Snap's going to be good. It's because but to be fair, they had a pretty low bar. I mean, like Snap is like a 6-hour game. It's very short. It's very like, I wouldn't say it's shallow. Like it does have replayability. There is reasons to go back. But
but you can find that with any game realistically.
Yeah. But the whole like, even when they said like, oh, there's going to be like 200 some Pokemon, there's 214. And a lot of people were like, that's not enough. But they did make it feel enough just because so many Pokemon have incredible personalities. And there's this like weird, not a hidden mechanic, but there's like this weird, like, it's some of these interactions are very rare or very specific. And when you do those, they feel good. So I think they like it is pretty much a perfect sequel. I don't know. I mean, there's flaws, there's complaints, but I don't know if any other company could have done it better. Like, I just think it's really great. It's a very solid, to me, $60 purchase.
It does feel weird, the whole, if you've left something for 20 years, we're now going to redo it. But I wonder whether it's one of these things where they have like this whiteboard somewhere in the Pokemon company's headquarters, which just has like a list of games that we maybe want to do at some point, but they just hadn't found the right partner, right? Because I think it was Bandai Namco, isn't it? And they did Pokémon Tournament, and is that the only Pokemon game they'd done before Snap? The two Pokémon Tournaments.
I think so, yeah. Because there was an interview saying that they were super happy with how they did Pokken, so they wanted to work with them again. So
I suspect they're quite specific about who they work with, and that they're not going to waste Game Freak's time with a side game, right? That's not where the money is. And so if they have a very small list of partners that they're willing to work with, they're not going to suddenly disrupt one of their ongoing projects to start doing something like this. And then once they'd finished Pokémon Tournament or DX or whatever the deal was, maybe they have multiple teams in Bandai that were working on it, but they were then happy with them and like, well, maybe this is the time to go for it.
Yeah. I had somebody come into my Twitch chat and say like, I wonder when they're going to make Pokémon Tournament 2. And I was like, well, they just finished Pokemon Snap.
Yeah.
Well, number one, they just finished Snap. Yeah. Number two is the producer. We talked about this on the show like a month ago. Said that like he would love to do Pokken 2, but it's not his choice. It's the Pokemon company's choice. And their response was, the response was, do you think the Pokemon Snap team worked on Pokken Tournament? And my response was, yeah. That's why. That's why they hired them to do it. Like, I don't think it's the whole team. Like, there are probably specific people on a team that balance fighting mechanics, and there are probably specific people on the team that made the backgrounds to Pokken Tournament that have no clue how a fighting mechanic works. But it's like very obvious. Maybe it's not obvious. To me, it was obvious that like in interviews when they said we were happy with Pokken Tournament, so we're excited to work with them again for new Pokemon Snap. Sounds like, I don't know, probably similar people worked on it. And
I suspect they're not going to do another Pokemon. I mean, maybe it'll be a Snap type thing where they do it in 20 years, but like, I don't think they have plans to do it in the next few years, because I feel like that's it for Pokemon, and Unite's basically taking its place in terms of
like a competitive game.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want to have too many things going on at once, and I don't think they'll want to go.
They do, because these weekends that they pack everything in.
Sure. But in terms of, you got to think about Worlds. They still have a very limited space in Worlds, right? Even if they buy the biggest conference halls, they can't suddenly add another game into that. And can you imagine they go, right, we're releasing Pokken Tournament 2, no competitive scene for it. we're not going to have it at Worlds. That would sound dreadful.
I mean, they are in a position where they could add more stuff if they wanted to, but they choose not to.
Yeah.
They could be
Yeah.
like, hey, we're supporting singles, but they don't. They only support doubles.
It's just too much. You can't support everything at Worlds being a physical thing. There's just not enough time and
And you have to
space in
support the lead up too, right? Like you have
Right.
to
Yeah.
support people getting
Yeah.
points and local tournaments and everything. That's not any shade at Pokken. Like I think Pokken surprised everyone with the legs that it had. But this is what I was saying with the DLC conversation. Like if they were happy with Pokken and now they're happy with new Pokemon Snap, and I think so. Like I'm sure that game is selling well, and I'm sure like I don't see too many negative responses. Why would they not want Namco Bandai to do another game? Like they're like,
I think that's exactly what they'll do. Something else, completely different. Well, not completely different. But
I would love to see them do something different, something completely different. And I think with now I'm like almost 70 hours into Snap, still not done with the Pokedex. I need 3 more Pokemon. I have 600 of like 800 pictures done. Like I want to get all the pictures. And then I look at like a sequel to Snap, and I think new Pokemon Snap is probably the best sequel they could have done. And then I look at stuff like the Mystery Dungeon port on Switch, and it just doesn't feel, it's the same. And I guess I was so worried with Snap that it was going to be like, it's just the same. It's just like a 6 hour, play it once. I guess you could play it twice or 3 times, but they went above and beyond. And I kind of wish they would do that for like Mystery Dungeon or these other Pokemon games. Like for so many people were like, I want a remake. And it's like, I played it. Like I've been there. I've done, maybe you didn't play it and you want a remake, but like for the longest time, people were like, I want Diamond and Pearl remakes. Look, dude, I played Diamond and Pearl. After 10 years, I played it again. Had just played it like last year on my Twitch stream. Like I get it. So I'm a little hesitant with what was the word they said? Like perfect remakes or whatever for Diamond and Pearl, or
faithful.
Oh, faithful, yeah.
Faithful remakes.
I'm a little hesitant with that kind of stuff because it's like new Pokemon Snap just blew me away and what it did with everything. And even with Let's Go, like I don't think Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee is a perfect game, but that game had so much charm, and it was just so genuinely fun to play, even if it was like easy. It was just like a blast to walk around and see Pokemon, and I want more of that. Like if I want,
I do think that the term "faithful remake" was a mistake on their part, but I think it is entirely there to tell people we're keeping the catch mechanic. We're not doing the Let's Go Pikachu Eevee. I think that is the entire reason that phrase existed.
I mean, it's a pitfall either way. Like, if you don't say that you're being faithful to the original game, you're angering all the people that want their game back. If you, when you say it, you anger all the people who are like, well, you're going to make all these horrible choices and I'm going to have 5 billion HMs again.
If you want to tell us information, show us the information, right? They said this after a trailer. Right, I am 100% certain that the reason was the catch mechanic. If you want to show us the catch mechanic, show us the catch mechanic in the trailer that you just released, right? Like trying to get across specific information with these phrases that people then take and run with them and go, oh, well, that means we've got the underground and it means we won't have any new Pokemon. And like, you're reading too much into it, and you know that people read too much into things. Why are you using vague terms like that? It doesn't make any sense.
Right, like Diamond and Pearl introduced the GTS. Is it going to actually have a GTS? Why would the company who made the GTS in Pokemon Home is making this game? Why would they duplicate the work?
You're stuck with ad writers that have to sell a game. You're stuck with a trailer that's made with what they have done so far, and they could get a team together to make something that looked like it was a finished game when they're nowhere near being finished.
Sure. But we're talking about the same company that micromanages the stuff that is released in other games. And they can't even get the idea of what they actually want to get across in a trailer. Like, I do think part of the issue is they announced games too soon.
Yeah.
Right. There's far too much time. And especially, Arceus, making sure I say the name right. That was specifically way too early. Why they announced it a year before it comes out, I have no idea. Nobody would be going, oh, what? Why are you releasing a remake? I want a new game. There might be some people doing that, but like most people would be perfectly happy with just the knowledge of the remakes coming in November and knowing there might be something in a year after that. We don't need to know that game's coming out in Q1 next year.
They're so bad at now that they're so bad at just communication. Like, again, we say this all the time. Why are we just getting Sword and Shield events? Like, why are we getting the press releases on Friday morning when the event starts on Thursday night? Why is there no heads up?
Yeah.
Why did you announce Detective Pikachu for Switch and then show us nothing for over a year? Why did you announce Pokemon Sleep? Maybe, again, this is me defending Sleep, trying to defend Sleep. Maybe they did plan for it to come out and they can't ship a mobile game without a physical device. And it is very hard to make physical devices right now. I mean, Ford can't even get chips for their cars, so they can't make cars.
Yeah.
Like Apple had to, Apple, the richest company in the world, had to delay their iPhone a month last year. So yes, I do think that Sleep was probably delayed because of not being able to put out that plus thing because they can't make enough of it. I mean, when they put out Pokemon Go with the Go Plus, it sold out in like a day. Because they didn't make enough of them.
Yeah. I mean, we live in a very complicated advertising world where we have companies that have to appease their investors as well as continue people being excited in their brand. And one of the best ways for them to do that is announce all of their upcoming plans that people will talk about all of these things and speculate and keep it going in the conversation. So it is an advertising technique to be deliberately vague to generate constant talking about the stuff. Like, there's not a way to win advertising apart from getting people to always talk about your product. And people are used to, in world of Kickstarters and delay products, that they'll announce it's coming out next year. They won't give an end date and it's delayed. The delay is part of people's expectations because everything is delayed. But the excitement is what they need to get at the times when they have an investor board coming up and they can say, look at all the engagement for these two products. Please keep investing in us.
Yeah. But they want it both ways, though. That's the problem, right? They want to have this long information of these are the games coming out, but they then don't want to actually give you any information about that to stop people getting disappointed, right? And I don't like to blame the companies too much for people's stupid expectations, but they do know that this happens and they could deal with it. Like we're talking about Sleep, for example. They could easily say, oh yeah, it is still coming. Like they put out an investor's note or something saying, we are still working on this, but the pandemic has delayed it. That's easy to do and would stop people going, maybe it's been cancelled. It's not being cancelled. Come on, of course it's not being cancelled.
The only reason I don't think Sleep was cancelled or delayed is because what is then Select Button working on? Like, if it was canceled or delayed, then they need to come out with something else so they can pay their bills.
I mean, I also think they're not, I think they are successfully having it both ways. Sword and Shield sold like gangbusters. Everything sells like gangbusters.
Sure.
Like they are walking a very fine line, and they are walking a line. Again, every company is always searching for the line of how they can build anticipation without it boiling over into resentment. And the bad thing that we as consumers have is we have very few outlets to see what they see. Like Twitter and Reddit are not great markers of how people are actually feeling.
No.
The internet in general, like, isn't a great way to get how people are feeling. What is for them is how many times does their name come up in searches? How is it trending? Is it good? And that is what they are going for. And sales haven't. Yeah, I mean, sales didn't dip for Sword and Shield despite having quote unquote terrible trees and a bad animations. Like, it sold like gangbusters, and there was a growing wave of people actively angry at the people who were judging it beforehand, and were openly defending their game. Like that is a win-win-win for a corporation.
Yeah, fair. Stupid.
It's stupid, but it's how the world works right now.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Talking is still press, even
Yeah.
if it's negative talking. Like the number of times, I'm not saying I have bought things out of spite, but I have gotten close in some cases, and it has certainly changed. It's maybe pushed me over the edge. Just to spite.
I bought Snap out of spite.
Hey, I'm very happy with Snap.
It's a very good looking game. I'll give you that.
I mean, I don't want to ever discourage or make it sound like for me, it's frustrating. And I think Greg sees that firsthand because Greg watches my Twitch streams. But when the where people's minds go with with 30 seconds of beta, maybe not even beta footage of Arceus, and people being like, this is going to be the greatest game ever. It's going to be an MMO. It's going to be a million hours long. And it's like, you got some wild, how old are you?
Yeah,
you got some wild expectations for 30 seconds of video game footage. And
I mean,
I also think people don't want that.
Yeah. Well,
like as much as they say, they don't actually want it.
I mean, I want some of it, but people just don't have a good, people need to learn to manage. Like it's fun to I love speculating about a million things, but I've also learned how to be like, also, this is what they gave me. Do I enjoy it? Yes or no? Whether or not it met what I thought it should be. Like, I think there's a critical skill that we aren't really teaching actively in this sort of new world of your brand is also your identity. Like that is the advertising thing, is how to manage your own expectations and understand that difference, that there is a line there that you will never cross. Like you are never going to convince a company to do something that they had already planned on doing 2 years ago because you're mad about it on Twitter, right? Like that's just not a thing that's going to happen. The bring back national decks didn't do anything. And people keep talking about like, oh, we'll just keep hammering with them and they'll finally listen. To an extent, like they are listening to, are you gathering enough people that it is a problem? And clearly that didn't play out for Sword and Shield. The amount of effect you have on a company about decisions they made at the start of a project, which was 4 years ago, is very little.
Yeah. I mean, there's also like the conversation of like they have to make money, and time is money, right? Like they're at the end of the day, they're a company. So there are still people that are like, oh, well, they're eventually going to add the rest of the Pokemon to Sword and Shield. Why? Why? Like, why would they? It sold 21 million copies. Do you think that there's like 20 million people waiting for like Kakuna to get added to this game?
I am.
Like, no, like it's just not worth their time.
And do you think anyone who's actually not bought it would still buy it? Like they're still going to have something to complain about and a reason not to buy it at that point. Like those of us, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I do wish that all the Pokemon were in the game. Yeah. But I bought it anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's a good game. I had so much fun in that game. It's probably my second most played Pokemon game.
I'm still playing it.
It's just like the people that it's just like the people who want Pokemon games to be harder. Sure, like it'd be cool if a game was harder, but like, is that going to sell 5 to 6 million more copies? And even if they do go back and add the rest of the Pokemon to Sword and Shield, how much time is that cutting off from a new game? Is that like 6 months of work? Is that 3 months of work? Is that 8 months of work? Like what?
Yeah.
It's just like you have such a small vocal minority that wants something that, like, in the long run for the company, it's just not worth it.
And
like,
it's hard.
They're very good.
Yeah.
The Pokemon Company is very good at making a game or a product to appeal to as many people as possible, which is what most brands want to do.
Mm-hmm.
unless you're a specific luxury brand like Coach. Coach isn't even a good example, but like think of a purse brand. Like they don't need the general public. They just need a dedicated hardcore fan base because they sell products at a, and again, Coach is not a good example because they're not the most expensive purses, but
they're pretty pricey.
You go to Target, get a purse for $14. You go to Coach, that same purse is going to be $120, right? Like they don't need a huge audience.
Right.
Pokemon, but that's not Pokemon. They want the biggest audience possible. Yeah. They're not selling $200 versions of games for, the hardcore fans to buy.
It's also hard to be like, we don't know what the next generation is. Like, we don't know what their plan is. We don't know what their art style is. Like, it's hard to say that, like, if Generation 9 uses the same engine and they're building a different set of Pokemon to go into Gen 9, which we assume they do, it is perhaps possible that they could have a team to go back and say, we're going to do a final DLC for Sword and Shield. But it's not just updating one game. It's pulling focus away from their other products that they want you invested in. Like, for all we know, they have all the animations done. It's the same engine. They're building it for Gen 9. They could just dump them into Shield right now. But there's not... that stops so many other aspects of the train and pulls away from where they want to be as a company, that even if they have it done, marketing and everybody else might say that's great, but we have to sell copies of the Diamond and Pearl remakes, and then we have to sell copies of Arceus, and then we have to sell copies of the thing after, and there's not a good time for us to just drop a DLC in the middle of everything and ruin 2 years of marketing plans.
Yeah, and it like, even if it is just taking what you already have and putting it in a game, that's still work.
That's still work. Somebody has to do it.
There are bugs in Sword and Shield that would probably only take a couple of days' work to fix. They're not doing it because it's not worth it to them.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's wrap up with... no, I thought that was a good place to end it. Let's wrap up with question of the week.
All right. Question of the week. I can't wait to hear what you'll be asking.
All right.
I did. Oh, I'm so good. I was on vacation and I added it in.
This is a good. This goes back. The podcast comes full circle. This is from Alex. What is the weirdest Pokemon item you own? Giant plush, butter dish, etc.
Wait.
Oh.
Weirdest item I own.
You've got a lot to choose from.
Welcome to my remote control by a small wire Psyduck that rolls.
Is this official?
Backwards and forwards. Yeah, it's from Tomy.
Oh, it is. All right. An official partner of the Pokemon Company.
This is the Pokemon Romocon Battler. It does nothing. It's never actually worked either. Probably because the batteries came dead. But this is the weirdest thing. I don't even know why I have it, but it's just weird and it's never done anything. Everything else for me is plushes, really.
I don't think it's that weird right now, but in like 20 years, the Pokemon typing adventure will probably definitely stand out as a very weird thing that they did.
Yeah, I certainly don't have a huge selection of things, and I'm not sure I have anything weird. What I do have is a little, I don't know, what is this, plaster cast Charmander that my older sister made me. It must be like 22, 23 years ago. And I'm not even kidding. Like that is over 20 years old. So it's probably like the oldest thing I have, other than, I guess, the original games.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure that this is a knockoff, but this is my Squirtle whiteboard marker holder. It just holds markers for a whiteboard, and it's Squirtle.
That Squirtle's very thick.
Yeah, well, it's
He's a
it's
wide
gotta-
boy.
He's a wide boy that's got to be protecting my whiteboard markers. Also, I'm pretty sure since I got this 15 years ago that these markers are dead. And I think it opens.
I do have this Pikachu salt and pepper shakers. No butter dish though. I have Pokemon stamp rollers when that was a thing back in the 90s. But when I did eventually open it, I was like, why am I keeping this sealed? I'm not going to resell it. They're stamp rollers. So when I opened it, which was maybe a year or two ago, the ink was all dried up and stuff because it was like 20 years of collecting dust.
I guess I do have I have a Pokemon card box here with the stickers from Nick's illustrations of the not Pokemon. Does that count?
Yeah, that's a weird item.
Yeah. Everything else I have is action figures. I have my
This section definitely best to watch on YouTube. I suggest for people.
I have the Gale of Darkness GameCube. That's pretty cool.
They did a GameCube. Like, is that an official one? It's not like reshelled.
No, it's official. Yeah, it was just a silver GameCube that has like the Lugia on the top part of it. It's pretty beat up, but yeah, I see Al has the Pikachu 64.
Hold on.
I do have the Pikachu N64 with Pokemon Snap sitting in it.
There you go.
So that's probably my most exciting console. I've got quite a lot of the. I've got the Game Boy
64.
and GBA. It's actually not as expensive as you'd think. It's actually pretty good.
I have two of these.
Oh,
the Gale
the
of Darkness
skins.
custom skins.
Wow. Why do you have two?
I don't know.
He was planning a scalping days back in the 2000. When was that? 2003 for Gale of Darkness.
I mean, this is the thing.
That.
Did you
See,
buy
if we
them
had a
both at the same
merchandise
time?
website, we would know when to
Look, what? Why would I remember why I have two of these from a million? So actually, the most likely thing is I did it on pre-order, so they probably had one when I pre-ordered, and then when I went to go pick up the game, they had it again. That's most likely how I ended up with two.
Okay. I do expect people to remember these things, probably because that's about the only thing I can remember in life. Like every single thing behind me, I can tell you when I got it and how I got it.
I used to. I have now 51 years of collecting stuff. And I'm willing myself to forget things because I'm like, if I remember how I got them, I'm less likely to throw them away. So now I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't remember how I got this Chuck.
Well, the question is like weirdest items. So for me, it's probably salt and pepper shakers. Maybe an apron. I have a Pikachu apron. That's pretty weird.
Did you buy all those dishes?
I didn't get a bunch of the dishes.
I thought you got the milk one and the stuff came off.
I got the milk plate. Yeah, it came with 2 Moo bottles and then 2 Moo plates. And I got 2, one to keep sealed so I could put it next to my Ancient Mew, and then 1 to use. And using them was the worst thing I could have done because they were poorly made. And just hand washing them caused the ink or whatever it's called to come off of it. And then at this point, it's just, I don't know, throw it in the dishwasher. Who cares at this point?
At that point, it's
at that point, it's done for. But I think that was kind of, somebody could probably say like, oh, I got the Welch's grape, the jars.
I have
Pokemon
one.
Was on that, yeah. I had those too.
I have one,
but they probably went through the dishwasher so many times that I don't even know if you could tell they're Pokemon anymore.
If it doesn't have to be official stuff, I do have my own Pokemon card made for me by someone in Slack.
Oh, nice.
Which is Al's Zygarde.
Oh, that's cool.
That's tournament legal, isn't it?
Yeah. Slide that into it, Dad.
I mean, are they gonna question you on it?
Somebody might call a judge on you.
Nobody wants.
I bet
a
you
judge
could get
to come
through
over.
one match without.
You could
someone...
get through one match at least.
Yeah,
They'll be
maybe
like,
it
oh,
gets
that's a
like
really cool rare card.
Wow.
I don't
I
remember
think
who
it's-
the owl trainer was.
Was there an owl? There's got to be an owl in all of
There is
Pokemon
no.
animes.
There is no. I've done this already. There's Alder, and there's obviously Alistair in the new game. There is, as far as I know, no owl.
There's
Although
no, like,
there is an
bird
owl
keeper
in Animal
owl?
Crossing. Not that I know of. I haven't seen because most of the early games didn't have names on them. I don't
Right.
think it was
Yeah.
till Gen 3, was it, that they actually had names?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They were just like youngster. And the names came in the remakes.
No, I think Gen 2 had names because they call you. Maybe it's only when they call you.
Okay, Gen 2 then. Yep.
Yeah.
You're right. They did in
Because
Gen
they'll
2.
be like Fire Breather Richard is calling you, and you'll be like,
Yeah.
oh,
No, you're right.
Richard, stop. I ain't
Richard,
got time for this.
what do you want now, buddy?
All right. Well, I think that'll wrap up our show. Will is out of town, obviously. But he'll probably be back next week. I would imagine as much. You guys have 1 week left to sign up for the Patreon if you want Nick's bonus music. I did revamp the entire Patreon this month with a new $5 reward tier, which will get you ad-free episodes of the podcast. If you don't like ads, we are running an ad now to support the show. So for $5 a month, you get ad-free podcasts. You also get 2 bonus podcasts a month that come out every other week on Fridays. So the first podcast this month that you would get access to is an interview with Nick, who does all the music for the show and who did the Kickstarter albums and stuff. And then the second bonus podcast this month was kind of like a clubhouse thing where we invited some patrons and we talked about the best fire type Pokemon. So that's not like those aren't going to be like, we're not bringing Nick back for the second month. So like they will be different. Well, maybe we could. They will be different, but I know people always want more podcasts. They want the podcast to be as long as possible. So if you want to support the show and get more podcasts, $5 a month, you'll also get, as soon as the 31st is over, the offer will go away. So if you want more break music and you sign up for the Patreon at $5 or higher, you get the break music that Nick is working on right now. 6 more songs to add to your collection. We have other reward tiers. You know, if you want your name in the YouTube credits, if you want to be a part of those special podcasts we do, if you just want your name to be a slightly different color in the Discord, which is a thing, it's out of control, Greg. Don't give me that look. I revamped the entire Patreon.
Get your house in order.
Patreon.com/PKMNcast or ISE.cash.
.cat.
Dot
Now you have
cat.
to get .cat.
Now I have to go get .cat. But thank you to everyone who supports on Patreon. Thank you for making it to the end of the podcast. I will probably remind you guys somewhere in this week to be like, hey, you're running out of time for the exclusive limited CD offer. But thank you for listening. Al, I don't remember what your Twitter is right now.
Oh, shocking. It's the Scott bot, where Scott has 1 T because it's a nationality, not a name.
And Al, you do another podcast. You want to let people know?
Yeah. So I do a podcast. Most of the time it has previously been with Rochelle, who's also been on the podcast sometime, although she's not been on recently because life is fun. And this is about farming games. So if you want to come hear about all the weird and wonderful, lots of different farming games, then that'll be good. We've got a new episode coming out on Wednesday.
Greg is at White Wing. Greg, is your book still available for pre-order?
Yep. bit.ly/random book where the R and B have to be capitalized.
You really messed up on that one, didn't you?
It wasn't me. It was not me. I did not set that up. Don't put that on me, Steve.
I'll be streaming on Twitch, probably more Pokemon Snap. Try to get the last 3 Pokemon I'm missing. I know one of them I'm missing. I don't know the other 2 without looking them up. But twitch.tv/PKMNcast, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff the same, PKMNcast, and then our ad for BetterHelp, also PKMN, betterhelp.com/PKMNcast. Thank you guys for listening. We will be back next week. This has been another episode of the Pokemon Podcast, and we are
super effective.
Super,
I can't think quickly.
super soccer is better than football.
Super Pokemon Tournament 2 is not coming.
How dare you!